Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BoltBlitz Uncut. And if I were to say it was a special edition, I would be understating the fact that this is one of the most special editions of BoltBlitz Uncut. I'm your host, Booga Peters, as usual, and it's Monday, so y'all are going to have to get used to this. As you see on the screen, former Chargers legend, defensive lineman, University of Pitt standout, Burt Grossman is now our Monday co-host. Burt, how you feeling, brother?
You're glowing, man. You're like, you know what? You're like Ricky Martin and I'm Bad Bunny. That's how you just glowing and hugging and loving. And I'm like, thank you.
One word, like one response, and I'm just all gushing. Yeah.
Thank you, Bad Bunny. I'll be Ricky Martin.
No, I can't. Well, I'll say it this way: I can't afford the plastic surgery that Ricky Martin had, and I can't afford the background dancers that Bad Bunny had to make that performance look decent. But anyway, that's a story for another day. I'm not fucking around with that type of shit. I don't watch the halftime show anyway. I'm just concentrated on the game. I don't give a fuck whom anybody watch. The more important news is we've got Burt here. We've got James here also in the chat. And then, of course, Jessica Thompson, our reporter for the 26th season. Burt, let's get right to it. This is your first show. It's your debut as co-host on the show. Let's talk about the Super Bowl. Your thoughts, and were there any surprises regarding the fact that the Seahawks kind of came in and just stomped them out?
I don't think so. I mean, their defense, everybody knew how good their defense was all year. New England had probably the easiest path to the Super Bowl in recent history. I know this will piss you off, but I'd argue they were probably the worst Super Bowl team aside from the 94 Chargers to make the Super Bowl. Don't get mad.
That won't piss me off because you're right.
I know. So I mean, you know what shocked me? Like the DC for Seattle, he's the one from Michigan, right?
Yeah, Mike McDonald, the head coach, man.
So maybe he wasn't stealing signs because there was no dude stealing signs. I mean, that was just a master class of NFL defense to watch. And I liked it because I played defense. And I think a lot of defense players like it, but overall, I mean, it was pretty boring and it felt like a Thursday night Amazon game, to be honest with you.
I'm so glad you put it that way. You really cue me up, even when you're just a guest. And now you're officially a co-host. But it really did feel like one of those games like, oh, God, Jeff Bezos, why do we let him get involved? And now we're watching Prime and we got to deal with Collinsworth jerking off everybody except for the players on the field. But that being said, it picked up a little bit. It was nice to see a former Charger and Uchenna Nwosu with the scoop and score on that play. It was good to see him, former Charger, now wearing 7. I think he wore 42. And if I wore 42 with the Chargers, I might fucking leave the team too. But I wouldn't say that the game was a surprise, but it definitely felt like some random Thursday night game on Amazon. And that's something that obviously the NFL will find a way to augment and decide who plays in the Super Bowl next year, one way or another.
You know what it did, though? The one thing I did kind of like about it is, and I might have been wrong, and I don't know what you saw, but it seemed like the refs were actually letting them play, and it seemed like football from a few years ago, and we're not going to ruin this game with like this because I hit you in the hip 3 seconds late. I mean, they kind of let it go. They let people hit. I mean, that was kind of refreshing to watch. It was just the teams were so bad.
It was. Okay, so you kind of nailed it in both facets of something we were going to talk about later. It did feel a little bit like the officials were like, we're not going to put ourselves into the headlines. We're actually going to allow the teams to play a little bit of football. It's a physical game. The league has gotten away from that, especially officiating wise. That being said, you're right. It was nice to see a little bit of hitting, a little bit of contact from both sides among the wide receivers and defensive backs that they let go for quite some time. Again, there were very few penalties to start the game, and I'm glad to see that happen. That being said, the NFL is already instituting a new rule to where they get to review plays after the fact for unsportsmanlike conduct, just so that they can maybe perhaps tilt the game one way or another. I'm a little uneasy about that, but we've talked about.
Answer the question. Let's be a conspiracy theorist. Do you think they were letting people hit the quarterback because there was no $300 million quarterback in the game this year?
Boy, you really ask good questions. I'm so glad you're here. So I will say this. I try to avoid the conspiracy theories, although my father was a big fan of putting as many out there as he could. I will just say this. The NFL makes a lot of money. It has not been a game for over a decade and a half, perhaps 2 decades. The the money that can be made on all levels is absolutely insane. It's not really fathomable, quite honestly. And Roger Goodell, with the expansion of this league internationally, which will happen whether y'all like it or not, I would not be surprised at all if for some reason in a meeting, and by the way, there are meetings with the officials before games at every level of football. I would not be surprised if they said, let this game play out a little bit. Let's get some teams excited, or some fans, excited, especially there for the fans that were sitting in the bowl, if you will, and allow some things to go one way or the other, so to speak, without the officials getting involved. Damn, you're pretty good at this, Burt. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. So let me close off with this. Again,
we did not land on the moon. Close it out.
Don't you fucking dare do that to me either. I'm not doing that. We're not doing that on this show. We're not talking politics. We're not talking about the supposed moon landing.
Why not?
Because we'll do that. We'll do that in July when we're really searching for topics. We got too many badass on this show. God damn it. I look forward to every Monday now. I've had so many rough co-hosts, and now I have a great one. Let's move on because we talked about it in the pre-show. Justin Herbert, quarterback of the Los Angeles Chargers, via Sam Monson, formerly of PFF, now of Check the Mic with Steve Palazzolo. He was the singular vote for Justin Herbert as MVP of the league. He's now been doxxed. His family has been threatened. He's been turned over and upside down a billion times on social media. What type of balls does it take for him to not only vote for Herbert, but, hey, I'm going to post it and say I'm the one who did it. And your thoughts on him doing so?
To be honest with you, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, obviously, I thought Matthew Stafford should have won easily, but he lost, and he didn't get to the game. I thought they were both head and shoulders above Drake May, to be honest with you. He's only a second-year guy. I get that, and he's going to be great. But the easy schedule you can't overlook the easy schedule. Half the people that come in New England at the end of the year can't deal with the weather. Great coach, great defense he had with them. But I would, to be honest with you, I would vote for Justin Herbert over Drake May this season any day of the week just because what he had to deal with. I mean, you saw Drake May look average at best last night with no protection. You see Justin Herbert win a lot of games and look like Superman with this similar protection, if not worse. I mean, because they really only had problems on the left side of the line last night where Herbert gets it from everywhere.
Well, yeah, Will Campbell shit the entire bed or in a hospital full of beds last night. 14 pressures given up, according to everybody and their dog. Obviously, as your blindside protector, that's not an effective way to keep Drake May healthy, confident, and upright. For me, Herbert's just not afforded that same type of respect, if you will. You've seen all the Patriots fans and everybody out there on social media has. It's funny that had Drake May played behind that Chargers offensive line, as you mentioned in pre-show, and so many people have said all over social media, Drake May is a 4-win quarterback with that type of an offensive line.
I don't know if he wins 4 wins. I don't know if he can get 4 wins before he's on IR. He's not physically what Herbert is. I don't know any quarterback in the league. I mean, you couldn't name any. Stafford couldn't. I mean, no quarterback in the league could do, I think, what he did with that offensive line, just because physically he's built for it, and a lot of the guys aren't. And he can take a beating. He can see over top because he's 7 feet tall. I mean, a lot like Kyler Murray. What do you think would happen to Kyler Murray to the offensive line? I mean, they're not going to get murdered because you can't really hit people as hard anymore. It's back in the day, but there's no way anybody wins the amount of games he's won with that offensive line. I don't think people appreciate how bad they were.
It's because they don't watch every snap. And what I feel confident in is after watching every snap he played at Oregon, thank you, Phil Knight or whoever the fuck sent me all of the videos, whomever did. I'm kidding about Phil Knight. He did not send me the video, the tape. But I will say this. Herbert, so many offensive coordinators, a lack of weapons here and there, a lack of a running game. Let's just focus on this year, though, if we're going to steer it towards Herbert and what happened. Slater goes down. Alt plays 4 games, and the EPA regarding Herbert was #1 in the league. I mean, he was literally above estimated play adjustment compared to anybody else in there when he had Alt just for a limited sample. And then what happens? Alt goes out too. And oh, by the way, Joe Ortiz and by the way, we're finding out it was more Jim Harbaugh, because Harbaugh is actually the puppeteer and really calling shots there for the Chargers. Ortiz is more of a mouthpiece, and yes, I'm the general manager, but it's really Jim Harbaugh doing things there. But when you allow that same interior offensive line and the depth, and Trey Pipkins and Sawyer, though Sawyer played well in limited opportunities at left tackle, he struggled as a guard. What do you know? A guy that's been held together by chewing gum, duct tape, and fucking the power of friendship fell apart, but did not miss a game. We saw Herbert's left hand literally held together by whatever, and in the different braces, and we were all posting pictures of what he would look like next. I will say this. I don't know what it will take for Justin Herbert to impress anybody that's a non-Charger fan or a non-believer, unless they actually win in the playoffs and actually get something done, which leads us and kind of provides a perfect segue into they've added Mike McDaniel at offensive coordinator. Bert, I don't know your exact opinions, which one of the reasons why I'm excited that you're here to do this, but McDaniel's been viewed as a huge, huge get for the Chargers, especially what he can provide for Justin Herbert. Let's say that McDaniel lives up to his impetus as far as being this offensive coordinating guru. Will that provide Justin Herbert with far less excuses moving forward? I mean, listen, there have been quarterbacks, especially during your time and before your time, that they just found a way to elevate everybody around them. They didn't play behind an offensive line like Herbert did this year. But is Herbert going to run out of excuses with a fast, quick-paced, get the ball out of your hand quickly, and then a modern offense under Mike McDaniel?
You know what? I wouldn't call. I don't like what people call excuses. They're realities. They're not excuses. What he faces are realities. I mean, different offensive coordinator every year, different system every year. I'm not going to bring up the offensive line and what that is. I'm not even going to bring up some of the coaches he had before Harbaugh, because that's just a disaster. But I think it's going to be great for him. It's always the same thing. You get these coaches, these wizard young coaches, and they're offense coordinators. I mean, the coordinators, offense coordinator, defense coordinator. They're wizards on paper because it's just like the video game, but they have no leadership ability. So you promote them to head coaches and everything goes to shit. It doesn't always happen that way. Ben Johnson, it didn't happen with, obviously, the Bears, but McDaniel's one. I mean, you saw that dude. He couldn't lead a Girl Scout troop. But they'll put him in there because he's a great offensive mind, but they also realize then you have to lead all these men that are, ultra masculine, and it's like putting McDaniels as a colonel in the Navy SEALs. It's not going to work. I don't care how smart he is. He can always
want your leader to wear capris. Come on.
Yeah, he's always like, duh. But you don't need that with San Diego. I just said it. Wow, with LA, because you have Jim Harbaugh has that role. He does that role. He keeps it in control. He doesn't need to be that. He just needs to be the video game genius concept guy that he is. And I think he'll be absolutely hit it out the park because he doesn't have to be a leader. He doesn't have to deal with all the other stuff.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that fans don't think about too. They just see a head coach and the soup du jour when it comes to head coaches, as far as a lot of the owners even, is, oh, let me get an offensive guy who scores points and is innovative and just masterful in this modern offensive building. Yeah, I don't know if y'all paid attention last night. But that defensive-minded head coach and Mike McDaniel, who also calls plays, they did all right there for the Seattle Seahawks and their fan base.
And again, because he's a leader, but the crapshoot is with these young coordinators, half, maybe 70% turn out to be flops because they're not leaders and they can't transition into being a leader. So you get all these, this coaching tree and that coaching tree, because they learned it from, they always have a guy over top that's the leader that cleans everything up for them. And all you have to do is worry about your little spot. But if I want you to jump and do 20 spots and be another person and be a leader and they don't have it in them, it's a disaster. And you don't know that till the end.
Well, I mean, it's funny to me when you say it that way, because you watch a lot of these Charger fans out there and they throw out big names and this and that. And, oh, let me get, the hottest offensive coordinator to be the next head coach or whatever. I mean, we've got Chargers fans trying to replace Jim Harbaugh already. I know that you were a guest on this show when we talked about how excited we were. In fact, it wasn't this show. It was a different one, of course, because I've done so many of these fucking things. But you were just like, yeah, Harbaugh's the right hire. It's the ground and pound. It's the old school mentality. The NFL is cyclical. You saw Mike McDaniel, obviously, last night drop an incredible game plan. Do you expect that this bullshit with NFL owners and whomever is calling the shots where they're constantly trying to find these young-minded offensive coordinators to take over their teams as a head coach. Do you see it possibly cycling back to where it's like, let's get some people who can stop the points? Roger Goodell in the NFL has created this system where everybody wants to see points. They believe in that. They believe in that's what the fans want to see. Do you think that we see a cycle back to where defensive coordinators are kind of sitting in the driver's seat when it comes to these head coaching positions?
I think that, the thing that nobody takes into account is, again, when you become a head coach, you run the whole thing. You're the CEO, you're the commanding officer, you're whatever you are. Jim Harbaugh is not this innovative genius on offense. He's not this innovative genius on defense. He's not making adjustments at halftime. His coordinators are. He's just running the whole show, and I think that's what they miss. You have to have a leader that runs the whole show. And Jim Harbaugh will probably go down as one of the greatest coaches ever. I don't think since he's been at USD here in San Diego he's ever drawn up a play, because he doesn't have to anymore. He's just running the show and letting everybody else, hiring the right people, drafting the right people, making the right free agency signings. Nobody expects a head coach to sit in there and make halftime adjustments. They never do. It's every other day, and it's the culture they build, they bring, or the structure they bring. I mean, it's mostly the culture. And that's what they do that's great. Bill Belichick probably didn't draw up any plays since he was at Cleveland, and he sucked there.
No, he was horrible there. Nobody talks about that shit. So you said something that I think is really important for Chargers fans to hear, especially regarding Jim Harbaugh. He established the culture. He is the culture, but he puts his guys, Greg Roman, Jesse Minter, in a position to succeed. He allows them to do what they do in an effort.
Wait. When did Greg Roman succeed?
Oh, man, he had a couple good games this year. Come on, man. Stop it. No, hey, I'm not going to miss Greg Roman at all. Do not get me wrong. I will say this. Joe Ortiz or Jim Harbaugh, depending on who you blame for it, they didn't exactly draft players for a Greg Roman offense. I'm going to get roasted like a motherfucker like that, but y'all know I'm ready. I drink enough for it. I will just say that Jim Harbaugh is in the driver's seat, but Burt made a very important and poignant point. Harbaugh is great at what he does is because he surrounds himself with incredible people to actually manipulate and execute the game plan that he kind of has in mind, but he's not afraid to delegate to the people who know more than him. And I think that's one of the best qualities of a leader. Thinking about Harbaugh moving forward, how capable is he of making sure that he does have the right people in place, especially considering, and we'll touch on this a little bit after your answer, they just added Adam Gase as an possible offensive pass game coordinator, or at least an offensive assistant. Any concerns about him?
No, again, because he's not going to be a head coach, which is just great. And him and Mike McDaniels can play on their PlayStation or Madden or whatever and draw plays on Madden, which is great. They'll put their concepts together, and it's two weirdos, like
complete weirdos.
Theater kid weirdos that are taking Adderall can sit in the corner because Jim Harbaugh's running the show. But what they're brilliant at, they can actually do. And you take guys like that are brilliant at a certain thing, and you take it away from them, and you make them the head guy. And it's like, what are you doing? They're not brilliant at leadership. Keep them as coordinators and let them draw concepts.
I'll the Adderall out, man. I'll give them the Zyn. I'll send the Zyn out. I'll send them the beer, whatever the fuck it takes, man. I'm so glad that you brought up the weird part, because we talked about this pre-show. You're going to have Jim Harbaugh, Mike McDaniel, and Adam Gase showing up to these fucking press conferences.
You imagine if they did like a fucking sitcom like Three's Company now with those three living together?
Oh, God. Well, remember Roman and fucking Harbaugh had RVs next to each other, and the Chargers social media team totally dropped the ball by just taking pictures. Oh, my God. I would have found
like Rockford Files. It could have been the Rockford Files.
Dude, oh, my God. R.I.P. James Garner. I still love you. The first movie I saw at the drive-in was Tank with James Garner. I just want to throw it way before my time. Shouldn't have seen it, by the way. There's a scene in there I shouldn't have seen. I was way too young. But anyway, we can't sit on Greg Roman any longer. We're going to piss off everybody. We don't mean to open up them old scars. But Super Bowl 61 is going to be played at SoFi. New addition of Mike McDaniel. Chris O'Leary's an exciting defensive coordinator hire. What are the chances the Chargers, in your mind, have a chance to play at home for a Super Bowl in the 2026 season, heading into 2027?
They're going to have issues with their edge players on defense next year. Re-signing them back. they really need interior defensive linemen because they are so soft against the run. And obviously, the 2 tackles are coming back, so that's not going to be a concern. But they are going to need, the guard and the center and 2 guards, obviously. They missed on the offseason last year because that was an issue last year, and they didn't really address it.
No, they ignored it and actually kind of picked on the beat writer from The Athletic, like, 11 wins, Pop. That's pretty good, right? Well, I don't know if you bring back the same interior and then we watch fucking Justin Herbert have to have a robotic left hand and tape together and all the
and you know what? And that's always been the difference with the Chargers, and it's a culture thing that maybe it hasn't changed, but a real team wouldn't say 11 wins. They'd want to win the Super Bowl or else it was a failure. It's not, oh, well, we had 11 wins. Who cares if you had 11 wins? You didn't go to the conference championship
playoff game.
You didn't win. You didn't go you didn't win the Super Bowl. It shouldn't, for most teams that are not most teams, for all teams that are dominant or good or culture wise, 11 wins because you didn't address an area means you fucked up. You didn't win the Super Bowl. That's it. It's either that or nothing.
If your baseline for success is 11 wins, you're failing before you get started is the point here, folks. Listen, it was disheartening. I put this on X or Twitter or wherever the fuck you call it. During that time, I had never in my entire Chargers fandom, because I had been on social media forever, but during my social media standing, I had never seen a united front like the Chargers fan base had regarding the need to replace the entire interior offensive line. They never agreed on it. The Chargers fans don't agree on anything. Not as a group. It's just not how it works. Not as a Bolt fan, but they really agreed on that. And then Joe Ortiz was like, 11 wins was good. And you touched on it. That's not how it works.
That's not good. I mean, it is good, but that shouldn't be your standard. It is good in any. Well, I'm not saying that, but that isn't your standard. Harbaugh doesn't come in and can't be like, guys are going to work every day. We're going to hit that 11 win mark this year. He says, we're going to go to the Super Bowl. And your GM should be saying the same thing. Not 11 wins good enough. And the one thing they do have going for them next year is everybody saw the historically bad offensive line. And most people, if you're not a Chargers fan, don't realize that you're going to get, both your tackles back are 2 of the best tackles in the league. So you don't have to fix the whole offensive line. You just have to really fix the interior. And that's not as hard because, getting tackles is like shooting in the wind. I mean, you're either paying a lot of money if they're available or you're not getting them. And they have 2 of the best in the game. And people that don't watch them a lot just think, oh, they're terrible, the offensive line. Then you bring 5 free agents in. That's not the case.
No, it's definitely not the case. And listen, we picked on Slater a little bit here on this show, especially me and my former co-host, A.D. Simons. But I will say he is one of the best in the league. He has a functional strength that's ridiculous. He just happens to play a little more finesse style than I would like for a guy with his strength at left tackle. Joe Alt, on the other hand, I think that's how we build him in Madden, since we've brought up Madden a few times. 6'9", 310, long arms, great feet, agile as fuck. Cannot wait for him to be back. He was one of the honestly, over my entire Chargers fandom, he was one of the most difficult injury losses we've had. That there have been a lot of them and whatever, but it felt like when he was in the game, even when they switched him over to left tackle, of course, because Slater didn't play any regular season games, there was just a different Justin Herbert that was out there and trusting him. And Herbert very much feels to me like one of those guys that when he's comfortable, he's fine. But when he's uncomfortable, including from the very first snap of the game, he's not buying into who's around him. And that's why he starts to play hero ball too early. You have an offense that was built by Greg Roman, an offense that was offensive. No quicks. Why were there no screens to the running backs?
But again, I'll give you another Justin Herbert thing. I like that he tries to play hero ball because he wants to be the hero. A lot of quarterbacks fold and do checkdowns the entire game. No matter what's on the line, what's not. I don't want to bring up your idol, Shedeur Sanders, but every throw is 10 yards. Every quarterback nowadays is a check down. You'll see, look at their average pass per play. It's always 7 yards. That's a check down every play. I like that he tries to go downfield.
A 4th round pick for everybody paying attention at home. Bert's fucking with me because he's cute and adorable and people love him.
5th round pick.
But I had him as a 4th round.
Oh, all right.
Now I know what Cleveland did with him.
Yeah. He's the greatest quarterback all time.
Well, I mean, you might as well show off. What does he do? The watch?
Watch it.
If he would have bought me a watch, all he bought me was Fossil. What a fucker, man. It was a $30 watch, and you know what? It kept time.
It's all it needs.
That's all it needs to do. And I don't have a watch now. But speaking of watch, we already talked about, oh God, I don't know, a lot of different things. Harbaugh, McDaniel, Gaze, we already talked about that. How interesting will these press conferences? We already talked about how interesting would they be? When you look at this Chargers team moving forward, obviously the interior offensive line needs help. You talked about the interior. Interior of the defensive line, excuse me. Tierra Tart just re-signed to a 3-year, $37.5 million deal. Total, it's $30 million guaranteed. I was a little surprised by that. Originally, it looked as though it was going to be a 2-year with $20 million guaranteed with an option for a 3rd year. Despite the fans' love for Tierra Tart, and you already touched on it, he disappeared a little bit, and so did the rest of the interior, especially when Deshaun Hand wasn't in there to kind of clean up some shit. How concerned should Chargers fans be about that interior defensive line, and how early should they address that in the draft or free agency?
I mean, you watched Seattle's defensive line last night. Does that anywhere resemble what you see in the Chargers D line?
Oh, no.
Would Tierra Tart even play on that team?
No gap control. Absolutely not. The Chargers are lacking in the ways that Seattle.
I mean, I'm talking about pass rush, everything. Would Tierra Tart even have seen the field on the Seahawks last night?
Oh, you got me. No, not behind Byron Murphy. No. And obviously,
yeah,
his thing, and I can keep going.
But I mean, that's what you need. I mean, I do think you can mark it down. I do think they'll pick a defense tackler and interior guy in the draft, 1st round, because they're down kind of far, unless somebody just slides. But because they get gashed in the run. I mean, I guess you have to. And that's Harbaugh. We talked about it when I was on our last year. That's what Harbaugh does. He builds both lines, and then he goes from there, because kind of everything else you can get in free agency. But I think he's kind of put a lot into the offensive line the last couple of years. Granted, they all get hurt, but it has to be interior on offense, which I imagine is going to be free agency, because you need some older dudes there. You can't really count on a rookie offensive lineman, even though they've hit it out of the park on 2. But I think it'll be a D lineman. And again, that's if Mac doesn't leave in free agency, and the guy we got from Baltimore doesn't. They're both able to leave in free agency. Yeah, they're both able to leave.
The edge is a mess if you don't bring back at least one of them. And as much as this hurts Chargers fans' feelings, it's got to be a Dafe Oweh. And if you have to pay him $22 million, you know as well as anybody, if not better than everybody who listens to this show, the ability to get after the quarterback, especially from the edge, and augment that pocket for quarterbacks.
Wait, weren't all his sacks against Will Campbell in New England, though?
No, there were a few, though. Damn it, man.
That doesn't count.
Right too often right now. Fucking Burt. God damn.
Yeah, I mean, what's the other? Tulope? I'm the worst with Islander names.
Tulotu. Yeah, he's just, you know what? I'm going to refer back to a former co-host real quick, because he was one of the first people I ever heard say, you know when Thule was his best is when he weighed 290 and he was a 3-tech or a 4-eye, and he could literally penetrate from there. He's a cleanup sack guy more often than not. And that's fine. There's no hate on that. And listen, he finished with 13 or 13 and a half or whatever it was. Forgive me for not knowing exactly. But would he be better served in a 34 defense playing that 3-tech? Yeah, probably, if he were to put on some more weight. But that being said, tenacious, ball hunter, somebody that I can get behind as long as he has an Dafe Oweh behind him. The trio of Tuli Tuipulotu, Khalil Mack, and Dafe Oweh was really exciting in the last half of the season. Dafe had no sacks with the Ravens, and then he has 7.5 with the Chargers. Is that something that is too excitable in your mind, Burt? Should they maybe reconsider how much that contract would look like, and should they look elsewhere? It's 22.5 at a basement per year. He's going to get $70 million. Are you ready to pay that as a Chargers fan?
I'm not. No, not on his, because I mean, you wonder why Baltimore wanted to get rid of him, but 7 sacks isn't a $70 million number. I need a bigger body of work than that. That's going to happen a lot. And the other part people aren't concerned about is Khalil Mack's at the age where he might fall off the cliff any year. It could be this year, it could be next year. So I don't know what you do with him. He might be great again, but he is at that age where you just end up falling off the cliff.
We don't even know if he wants to come back at this point. And if he does he want to reroute and go to a different city, a different state? I doubt it, So you think about teams like San Francisco, the Rams, and whatever. But if he does come back, I would imagine it's for the Chargers. But do the Chargers
but
back?
I mean, if I don't know why. I don't know. We have to outbid people in free agency. Say, I want to go to Tampa Bay, or I want to go to Miami, or I want to go to the Cowboys or the Texans. I got to bid 10% more just for the state income tax here. I mean, you start talking $70 million, and between the Dolphins $70 million and the Chargers $70 million with state taxes, is a $7 million difference. That's hard to beat. It's the same weather.
Right. For those of you who are not catching what Burt is selling right now, the state income tax in Florida is 0. In California, it's the highest.
Texas is 0.
Yeah, Texas is 0. Sorry, there are several places. In fact, Oregon is tax exempt as well, but they don't have a fucking football team. Portland, look out. But I'm just sorry. I lived off.
I mean, but you have Florida that has 3. You have Texas that has 3. I think that's 6 teams that bid in free agency against the Chargers, who have a 10 or 11% income tax. I'm sure LA probably tax on another 3% city tax. That's a lot of money to give up. I'm going to Miami or Tampa. It's the same weather.
And then Vegas, this exciting new era. They're possibly going to draft Fernando Mendoza, who, though everybody else is high on him, I don't know that he'll be a great NFL quarterback, but they've got Genty, they've got Bowers. For now, they have Max Crosby on defense. I can see why that no state income tax in Las Vegas and the excitement around there especially for a young guy. I mean, you and I, the first show I ever had you on, we talked about, and I did not expect this. It was just like, so what was your college life like? And did anybody ever try to slip you anything? You're like, oh yeah, man, I don't know if it was a Corvette or money thrown your way or whatever, but you were not shy about it. So now that the NIL is out there and all this other bullshit, these guys can make a lot of money in college. Going to a place like you already mentioned that is tax exempt or has no state income tax, that's a huge draw for these guys. That's a huge difference in money.
Well, I mean, you look at the quarterbacks are getting $300 million. That's a $30 million difference from a non-taxable state to California. So it's hard. How do you make that up in free agency? You throw in another $30 million on top of that, but then they get taxed on top of that. So you got to throw another. It's almost like I throw $70 million extra just to make it up.
And then there's this
tax on that 70.
And then if you do this and then you do that, but we can do this and we'll make sure you're surrounded by this, that, and the other. And then it's just, well, some shit fell through. And unfortunately, we weren't able to give you exactly what we wanted to give you, even though that's how we agreed to sign you and the ideas that we put in front of you. It's a weird league right now, and having the NIL shit in college, it makes it to where, I mean, look at this fucking sports landscape we've got right now. You've got NBA guys going back to college basketball because they can make millions of dollars via the NIL. How much do you think that's going to pollute the NFL game when it comes to guys trying to come out? I mean, whatever happened when you were at Pitt, you earned your shit because you were a fucking badass. A lot of these guys are just getting these fucking NIL deals based on their fathers, their name, the possible advertising prospects.
Yeah, and I think you see the guys that are doing, their 7th or 8th year. Those are the guys that aren't going to make it in the NFL, and I think they know it, and they're just extend their payment window. The kid from Oregon, he probably stayed because he probably got what he was going to make as a rookie. He didn't want to go to the Jets, not knowing that no matter what year he comes out, the Jets are going to have a top 3 pick, dumbass. Right. But I mean, if I had a chance to stay at Oregon and mess around with college girls or go to New York and get my career ruined, I'd at least put it off another year. So I get that. But most of these guys that stay and say, I want another year, and they're on their 8th or 9th year, it's because they know they can't make an NFL roster.
Well, and I think, honestly, you truly nailed it, at least in my opinion. These guys aren't staying longer just to hang out or do whatever. They're staying to make money or avoid the fact that I'm about to be exposed that I'm not ready to play at the next level. The NFL is just a different business. We watch, and, I'm a fan, of course. We watch these players get hurt and we're betting on fantasy and we're deciding when they should come back from an ACL tear and, they're not back yet. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Fans just don't get it. I will make that very clear. Having been somebody who's had a shitload of fucking surgeries at this point, especially on my right Achilles and everything else. Hey, Donnie Cummins, real quick, of Bolt Pride. Appreciate you showing up, brother. He's still gonna go to the Jets probably. Donnie, you think the Jets are gonna move up? Hey, if the Raiders are smart enough to actually trade back with the Jets, because they're gonna get a fucking king's ransom if they do that. And by the way, Donnie's not far off. That's hugely rumored behind the scenes. The media chat I'm in, all the big wigs where I just kind of sit there silent. It's the only place I'm quiet, by the way. They're constantly talking about, oh, the Jets are going to do this. Woody Johnson. Man, what the fuck? Woody Johnson, the Johnson & Johnson guy who fucked Band-Aids over and everybody else? I don't know about that shit.
I'll tell you what, and there's mixed reviews on Mendoza, whether he's good or he's not good. I'm not really that big a fan, but if the Jets take him, that's just proof that he's not that good because they just don't pick anybody good. So if he goes to Raiders, he might have a chance. He goes to Jets, that just validates that he wasn't that good because they can't get anybody good. Well,
and you framed that really well. To kind of back up your point, Tom Brady's really kind of running shit there in Las Vegas. So
it's been a shit show every decision he's made.
I know. I'm so glad you said that out loud. So let's say that Brady does decide, or help decide, if you will, that Mendoza is the pick. There's not a lot of they have a bunch of cap room. There's a lot of different things they can do, but they haven't been making a lot of good decisions, as you just mentioned. Should Chargers fans be concerned about the Raiders at all, or can we still kind of make fun of them, if you will?
No, we're not. We don't. I mean, to me, they're at the Jets level. I mean, you bring in Pete Carroll and fired after 1 year. You give Geno Smith all that money, just horrible. I mean, give me one good move Tom Brady's made. Give me one average move he's made. They're gonna end up losing. They'll lose Crosby, which is going to be another disaster for them.
Do you think they lose him for sure?
I think they lose him. I think he forces his way out of there. I think he sees what it is. It used to be in my day, there was no free agency, so you knew like the Chargers were like a dumpster fire, but you couldn't do anything about it. Now you can. You can go out and they talk. So I don't think he wants to be at a dumpster fire Raiders team for the rest of his life. Every player wants a chance to go to the Super Bowl. He's never going to have it. He's at the point of his career and they're so far behind the 8 ball that he's not going to see it. I mean, you always have to look when Crosby was young, they were 100 miles closer to the Super Bowl than where he's at now. And that just tells you they're going the wrong direction.
Well, and what's funny is, you have Max Crosby. For those of you who are unaware, he's an Eastern Michigan draft pick. I mean, he was a 5th-round guy. He wasn't expected to be this, that, or the other. And it turns out that he's like, what he is? He's like the Tom Brady of defensive linemen. He kind of is, except for he does have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
So what I would like to see happen with him is him get traded or the fuck out of the AFC and go to the NFC, and I never have to see him again because he's been giving Herbert issues forever. I love the little bit of trash talk. I don't know if people realize this too. Herbert talks a lot of trash, not at the Rivers level because all we do is praise 17 on this show. But we saw it in the comments too. Donnie is like, I don't know if Mendoza is even NFL ready.
No,
he's certainly not. He's not NFL ready for the Raiders in that bullshit mess that they have going on. Yes, you have Ashton Genty, and then you have Brock Bowers, but you know the NFL better than I do. It's great to have an amazing running back and tight end, and I know the Chargers did that with LT and Gates, but how much pressure does that put on the quarterback, knowing you're probably going to lose your pass rusher on the other side who makes everything easier for the offense?
I don't, I think the running back and the tight end. I mean, if I could, you could give me Reggie. If you're going to say I'm going to give you Gates, Rivers, and LT, man, you could have Reggie White, you could have Max Crosby. I don't care who you got, man. You're not making up for that. There's anybody, Bruce Smith. Anybody. Take it. You could have Aaron Donald. Actually, you could have all 4 of them if you give me those 3.
Oh, if you haven't paid attention yet, Burt is obviously clearly a huge Charger supporter and a believer in the triumvirate.
But you just can't give me AJ Smith. You got to keep him out.
Oh, you and I are gonna. That is for another show. AJ Smith, boy, do we have some.
You know what? And that is the Chargers should have been, if they would have kept it together, what the Patriots became. If they would have just And this is Dean Spanos 101. He did the same thing when he fired Bobby Ross to let Bobby Beathard totally destroy the team. He didn't learn anything from that lesson. So you fired Schottenheimer to let the next Bobby Beathard totally destroy the team. He just never learned. And then he put his dopey son in there. And then he put that goofball from who was it? The one that went to the Raiders and just got fired, the other GM?
Let's go. My pal.
Maybe the worst GM I think I've ever seen in my life. And he hires him.
He lasted 1 year in Vegas, so I think that says a lot.
He still lasted 1 year here, but that's the difference. Other teams see it and they go away. What did he last here? 7, 8 years before they figured it out?
It was bad here. So this is how I like to kind of sum up the Tom Telesco experience. It took me one draft of watching him to literally nail at least 2 picks he would have for the entirety of his GM career. Literally. Both with the Chargers and the Raiders. He was so predictable. 3rd round was a weird pick. It was going to be Trey Pipkins or Craig Mager or some fucking random reach that you're like, that's the 3rd fucking round. You can find high quality players there. You can find starters in any round, but it's
Keenan Allen. You can find Keenan Allen there.
That's where, man, I was walking down the street and fucking right down from my hotel in New York, just down the street from Radio City Music Hall when Keenan Allen was drafted. And I was like, I can't believe they got him. I would never root for a man being injured, but the fact that he was, it paid off for the Chargers.
Let me give you a random trivia question. I bet you don't know.
Oh,
who was his receivers coach at Cal?
Oh, you son of a. Hold on. Fuck it. No, just tell me. I don't want to waste time.
Wes Chandler.
Oh.
How you not know that?
Well, I knew it was a former man. You're talking about the dudes that my father was making sure I was paying attention to. Wes, no matter the fact that he played for the Saints too, that was a dude that he's one of the reasons I got my ass kicked if the ball touched my hand and I didn't catch it. Okay, I will tell you. Him, JJ, are you kidding me? John Jefferson. Those were the guys that I was brought up watching. Obviously, Kellen Winslow. For those of you who have not paid attention to this show, my parents took me, to the Pro Football Hall of Fame while my sister had a cheerleading competition at the Palace, not right down the road here in Auburn Hills. And my father had a 10-minute conversation with Kellen Winslow, shook his hand, waxed poetic, and he was so impressed by my dad's football knowledge. What did I fucking do as an 11-year-old or what it was, 13 or some shit? Frozen like a fucking statue. And here I am. I got co-host Burt Grossman. Every now and then, life comes at you fast, and you just fucking figure it out.
And your dad can say, my son turned out better than Kellen Winslow's son. Ow! You always got that going for you.
Why did I jump so quick on that? I should have went. If my dad was still alive, he would definitely tell you, oh, yeah, my son's done just fine.
Kellen Winslow Jr. didn't set a high bar, you know?
No, well, he did not. And my father, if he was available right now to tell you, I moved the bar a lot of times. BoltBlitz had a lot of success. And remember, when BoltBlitz was created, for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, I was in the middle of a divorce, and then I moved to San Diego, and that was just, I was drunk and a whore all of the time. Just a ridiculous drunk whore. It was ridiculous, and for whatever reason, that made me endearing to Chargers fans. And here we are 11 years later, still holding it together as well as we can with chewing gum, duct tape, and all the other bullshit. Burt, I've kept you too long.
I was about to say, you negotiated 25 minutes, and we're at 45 right now.
45. You put the 30 to 45 on there for everybody. I've got the screenshot in case he argues, but I did tell him it was 25. I did tell him it would be 25, but
seconds.
I cannot keep you off the air. You have too much to provide, and you have incredible insight. The bet and the pink beer. Everybody fucks with me about the pink beer. Burt, for the record, I drink natural light strawberry lemonade, and I drink a lot of them. You're just going to have to deal with it. I'm not going to apologize.
Natural light. They still got that shit. Natural light
in a pink fucking can, and everybody hates me for it, and I just love it.
Is that shit still like $3 a 6-pack?
I couldn't tell you about the 6-pack, but I can tell you about the 30-pack. Anyway,
how much is a 30-pack? $10?
No, it's like 22 out here.
You're a liar.
I promise it's 22.
I'm gonna hang up on you right now for that.
On sale, it's $19.99, but because I live in Michigan, you get 10 cents a can. I've got about $300 worth of cans in the fucking garage underneath the mother-in-law quarters, just chilling. Eventually, I'll take them back.
The retirement fund.
I'm telling you, man, you gotta have one.
All right, my wife's gonna kill me. My wife's gonna kill me if I don't get off.
This is good. This is where I do this. It has not only been a pleasure for me, it's been a pleasure for all of the Charger fans out there. We don't want to upset your wife. We want to make sure you're here every Monday. Burt, tell everybody where they can find you on social media. You know how this goes. Appreciate you. Quit with the sexy face.
Burt, what is my social media? I don't even know.
Burt_L Grossman or something like that.
I don't know. They'll find it. Just search Burt Grossman. I'll see you next week.
I can't wait till Monday. I'm sure the fans can as well. Peace out. Thank your wife for letting you run over. And then Strike Force from Donnie Cummins. He's at every game, by the way. He supports.
No, he was at every game. Then we moved to Oceanside, and his lazy ass won't drive up there.
Oh, I didn't say that. Burt did. Burt, appreciate you. Love you so much. Appreciate you for being on the show. You'll see him every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific here on BoltBlitz Uncut. I'm your host, Booga Peters, and let me tell you, if you did not have as much fun as I did, I had enough fun for all of us. Constantly moving, constantly shaking. We're trying to figure things out here. We're going to become the best. Really excited to introduce Jessica Thompson for the 15th time, but actually get her in place as our game day reporter, because I'll tell you right now, you haven't seen what I've seen, and she has some of the best insight in the game, and she goes to every game. 70-game win streak or game attendance streak, home or away. That's why she's the Chargers BoltBlitz Uncut reporter. I'm Booga Peters. You can find me on social media at Booga Peters or on the Old People app, Dave Peters, because I am Dave. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in tonight. That was Burt Grossman, and if you didn't learn something from him, I can't help you, but I will continue to try. Thank you so much, folks. We're out. Peace!